What I'm interested to test out today is these are two identical little battery banks. They have uh, 5,000 milliamp and 18.5 watt hours according to their specs. So basically they should be 5 amp hour individual battery banks. Now I want to test this with this USB fan, run one of these, see how long it takes to drain that. And then what I'm curious about is that this happens to be a Y splitter for 2.5-inch hard drives. And I'm wondering now if you use two identical power banks, so they have the same exact specs, will it basically double your output as far as time, not amps or anything like that, not, you know, it's not going to boost your power. Not putting these in series. I want to see if I can put these in parallel to create just with just a little USB cable to see if I can then basically double the output. It'd be kind of nice because if you have something that you want to run all night long, and you know, if you have just say two of these, you don't want to have to get up in the middle of the night, unhook the other one when it's dead, put the other one back in. If you can just leave both of these plugged in into that one little thing. And what I'm going to actually try to test this with as well, again, when I get up to New Hampshire, is above the fireplace, I will test this fan. It'd be kind of nice to have it in addition to the blower fan on the fireplace insert, just to help move some of that warm air around at night. And because if that can work, and just have some of these inexpensive ones. My wife actually picked these up through work, through they were cleaning out stuff for a charity, and they were basically some work promotion things for the company. And so they're like $5 a piece. So I said, well, grab me two, because I want to test it out. And if that's the case, if you can find some of these cheap little battery banks, you can basically run something that you want to run for twice as long without having to mess with it. So let's start this. I'm going to actually start testing this with just running the one fan and see how long it's going to take to actually basically deplete this one battery. And then I will charge that back up full, and then we're going to try to run the two. Well, there's a slight change in plans on the testing of this battery bank setup. I pulled the fan and it was taking forever. It would have been probably 7-8 hours or so on that fan with one battery bank. So I switched over to the LED light here that I had used on another testing before, and it came up pretty much what it was with the other battery banks that I used, because these are half the capacity of the other battery banks. So 2.5 hours, give or take a minute or two, for this to deplete one battery bank. And what I'm going to do now is put these in tandem. I will connect it to this particular one and connect this and see if it can actually double the capacity. When I first, let me set this up. When I first connected this, what happened was that one of these wasn't quite full, and it started drawing juice from the other one to charge this one. So what I want to do now is, now that they're both full, I'm going to connect the two of those, and actually both of them are connected now. And let's connect this light to it to see if it will. And yep, we're getting juice. So we are going to start the test now at 7:02, and with this light, yeah, it is a little bright. at 7:02, and then we are going to see how long this light will run. So what's interesting about this setup, and I'm going to try to cover this light a little bit, is that one of the power banks, as you see, is flashing like it's charging, and the other one is showing full. So I'm wondering if it's just drawing the power from one of those, and the other battery is kind of charging the one that is being drawn from. Won't really know till this gets done, but I think that was kind of an interesting thing with this tandem Y splitter. We are at the 2 hour and 10 minute mark right now, and as you can see, it stopped doing that flashing like it was charging one of the battery banks, but one battery bank is down to one bar, and the other bank still has 4 full bars. So it clearly isn't doing a load bearing type of whoop, that dropped. It's not doing a load bearing type of situation where it draws equally from both of the battery banks. My guess is it's going to drain one until it doesn't have any capacity left, and then we'll start draining off the other one. So I'm going to let it go for longer, and we're going to see what happens. We're now at the 4 hour mark on this test, and as you can see, we have one blinking light on this particular unit, and then 2 solid lights still on the other unit. So we should get roughly 5 hours if we're going by the one unit test and then doubling it. But it's kind of a hard thing to gauge for a couple of reasons, I guess. One, I'm not quite sure how much it's drawing, from both of these units. The other thing is, if you look on here, each of these units, when they're being used, has a light shining on that emblem, which I don't particularly care for. Same thing with, I did a test on these units here, I don't know, probably almost a year ago, and the one thing I didn't like about this one was that when the battery power bank was being used, this would be lit up, and it's a drain on your power banks to have that extra light shining at the same time. Now, these units are 17 watt hours. These are 34 watt hours. I kind of like this setup here with this parallel cable, because I will put a picture up in a second, because I forgot the unit back up in New Hampshire. But I also have a 161 watt hour small battery bank, and it's an all-inclusive one, but the only nice thing about that particular unit as well is that it has an inverter and it has a light on it, so you could plug any anything you needed to. If you had to plug your laptop into it or so, you could. However, it's very, very bulky if you want to take it somewhere to use it just as a power bank for standard USB devices. And if you had, say, 4 of these white ones here that can be easily packed and easily stowed, that is almost the same as your big power bank unit. You have just 2 of these, you're looking at half that capacity. So if it were me, I'd be grabbing a couple of these or a few more of these and keep a couple of these cables. And these smaller ones, they're nice, but like I said, it's half the capacity of these units, and you're not saving a lot with space or weight. I mean, the only thing that's nice about these, they're kind of designed to have the suction cups, and they stick to your, say, a cell phone screen, and so you can easily charge your cell phone. That's kind of what these are kind of designed for. And yes, they have a cable that's, you know, basically attached here. However, this particular unit here has the cables built in. You just pull the cables out. So for this purpose, all we were really kind of cared about was testing these Y adapters. They're cheap enough on Amazon, and apparently it does work. And like I mentioned before at the beginning, you definitely just want to have the same brand and same size power adapters, because you want to have the power output to be identical. I don't know what would happen if we used these two, which are different, because they may have slightly different power outputs, even though they're rated for the same power. We are currently at 4 hours and 35 minutes total, and we are down to 1 bar on one and 1 bar just blinking on the second, and the light is still going strong. We are now at 4 hours and 45 minutes, and oddly enough, both battery banks are now solid 1 bar. It is no longer flashing on the one unit for 1 bar. So I'm not sure exactly what's happening. Maybe the other unit was drawing some charge from the other battery bank when it was getting low, and it was flashing. But that appears to have stopped. And like I said, at 4 hours and 45 minutes, this light is still going strong. We're going to see how long it lasts. Now at the 5 hour mark, and we are back to 1 of the units blinking and 1 being solid. Technically, the first test that had just 1 power bank ran for 2 hours and 32 minutes before that light shut off. I think I said earlier it was 2.5 hours, but I mean, that was roughly. This was, the exact time was about 2 hours and 32 minutes, and I'm guessing roughly we're going to get just a hair over the 5 hours with this one. Well, we are at the 4 hour and it looks, I'm sorry, the 5 hour and about 6 minutes, 7 minutes. And I don't know if you can see it or not, the flickering of the light. We are getting to the point now where that LED light is starting to flicker, and I'm guessing it's the power drain. It's not producing enough steady power, or there's a little bit of draw going between the power banks through that Y cable, that it's giving this a little bit of fluctuation now in power to the light. So it's about correct with the first test of the single power bank as to time wise, that we just doubled it using this cable. This is literally a $4.50 cable from Amazon. I bought a 2-pack for $9, and I will put the link down in the description. I would absolutely use this.